podcast is powered by monkeyknifefight.com.
Woo! We on the grind on this one.
Eureka.
The slow grind.
We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day.
Every day.
We make plays every day.
Pushing that boulder uphill.
Plays every day.
Woo!
We make plays every day.
Ain't no stopping.
We make plays every day.
Keep this thing
We
rocking.
make plays every day.
Hey.
We make plays every day.
Welcome to the Real Fantasy Playmakers. I am your host, Bogie, scot-free. And right out the gate with no delay, I just want to welcome back, making his solo debut on the Real Fantasy Playmakers, is my man representing the Slow Grind podcast, Mixmaster Morris. What's happening, Morris?
What's happening, brother? I was dying the entire time you're making that intro. Oh my god, you pushing the boulder up the hill.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm
the
saying?
sky.
It's
Right
one
off
of
the dome right here, this guy. I love him.
It's one of my favorite metaphors in life, my brother. You know what I mean? And like, you know, the slow grind is kind of what embodies that monarchy. You know what I mean? Like, we're pushing the boulder uphill. You know what I mean? Like this, you know, some people, they might go ahead and get that bulldozer and just carry that thing up the hill. And then they get up to the top of the hill. They don't know what to do with themselves because they don't know how to appreciate the hard work it took to get to the pinnacle. And like, you know, I mean, I'd rather take the long route if it meant longevity versus, you know, quote unquote overnight success and just, you know what I mean, and then become some type of like trendy chasing individual because I got to keep up.
So basically the career of Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Taking it slow and then becoming the GOAT.
Oh yeah, and you know what, man? I am an advocate in that argument for the GOAT conversation for Aaron Rodgers. Real quick.
I didn't say he's like fully the GOAT, but I mean like
yeah, he's on the way.
He took the slow road behind Brett Favre, and now look where he is. You know.
Yeah, and like
Super Bowl champ.
He can't exactly, you know, you can't exactly say he had the Brady treatment because Brady had the full package surrounding him, you know what I mean? Like as far as coaching.
Of course, that defense was always good.
Defense was always good. You know, Belichick, and you can just drop the mic. Like Belichick, you know, is one of the most, you know, winningest coaches. He's, you know, arguably one of the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you're a bad motherfucker when you're willing to do whatever it takes to win. Like, you know, like cheat. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I was about to say, like, I knew you were gonna bring up the cheating.
Yeah, and you know, cheating is, to be honest, like I'm saying this because I will preface this by saying cheaters never prosper, but cheaters, they're not cheaters until they get caught. You know what I mean? Because everybody does crazy shit. You know what I mean? In the league, but check this out. Speaking of, you know, crazy shit, you know what I mean? We are going to talk about the Jets. You know what I mean? Because the Jets is a crazy roller coaster. You know what I mean? My man Mixmaster Morris here, he's a diehard Jets fan through and through. My hat's off to you, man, because my hat's off to anybody that sticks with, you know a lot. Like I know a lot of Browns fans they're also / a Colts fan or / a Niners fan. You know what I mean? Like they're a Browns fan and a whatever fan. You know what I mean? Or I know some Jets fans that are like, yeah, I'm a Jets fan, but I love all the New York teams. I'm a Bills fan. You know, like I've encountered individuals like this.
That nonsense. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like, listen, man, like I love all the teams. Like, you know, in my fantasy, you know, roller coaster ride
all
or
fantasy, the lines get blurred. I had my girlfriend ask me the other day because she was curious. She's like, I know you love these teams, but like what happens when there's like a good player on a team that you don't like or like your conflicts like and I tried explaining. I was like, you know what? Sometimes you got to take it for the team. I hate Tom Brady with like all my guts, but if he's going to win me my fantasy championship,
I love him.
I got to roll with him.
Hey, you know what's crazy, bro, is like I even loved my Niners even more when they're bad. You know what I mean? Like a couple years ago when we first got Shanahan, our defense was really bad. Mm-hmm. So I would chase my defense around and be like, "Oh, I need a receiver this week. I need to find somebody. Oh, who's playing the Niners?"
That's what I was doing this year.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like who's playing the Jets?
This year, whoever was playing the Jets, I was starting them.
Yep, fire them up. You know what I'm saying? So
fire them up heavy.
we are going to talk about the Jets, in a nutshell. Before we get to that, Playmakers, we're just going to quickly handle this housekeeping. Go ahead, follow me at the GMM Network on both IG and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to the GMM Network on YouTube. Hit the notification bell, blah, 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 etc. Also, subscribe to the Rum Boys Fantasy Network. You know what I'm saying? We're also, when you guys hear this, we will have already debuted our brand new live series called The Show About Nothing. We're basically going to talk about everything and anything and nothing. You know what I'm saying? Also, check us out on the rumboys.com. It's where you're going to find all our latest and greatest articles. Even your boy Bogard Scott-Free is dropping an article about the 2020 summary for the 49ers. Check that out. I do dabble. I'm a jack of all trades, but now I'm putting on the journalist hat. You know what I mean? Also, Playmakers, you heard it at the beginning of this podcast. This joint is powered by MonkeyKnifeFight.com for all your legal, legit daily fantasy sports prop action. Head on over to MonkeyKnifeFight.com. Download the MKF app. Use promo code GMM. We'll match your first deposit all the way up to $50. Monkey Knife Fight, give me money. My man Morris, let them know where they can find you.
Mainly on YouTube and Instagram. Also TikTok. So everything is The Slow Grind. Just look up The Slow Grind and you will find me. But on YouTube, you should look up The Slow Grind Podcast. I got videos coming every week. I got 2 videos a week coming. Instagram, I post daily. I'm 3, sometimes even 4 times there. And then even on TikTok, I'm posting 2, 3, 4 times. Whatever is deemed, like whatever's going on that day. I always got content.
Yeah,
drafts for days, baby.
Playmakers, this man, his editing skills is phenomenal. I encourage y'all to check him out. All the links will be in the description of this episode, so y'all could check out his fine work. Also, I had a light bulb when you were dropping your when you were plugging your joints, man. I had this light bulb. It was like, yo, if he ever expanded your empire into adult filmmaking, The Slow Grind is actually a phenomenal name. It's on brand. You know what I mean? Anyways, I digress. So you're
too much, man. You're too much.
At least you weren't taking a sip of nothing right then and there. You know what I mean? Went right out the nose.
Right out the nose.
So let me ask you, man. Both my 49ers and your Jets, this is going to be, a lost year, right? I guess you could say, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're on to 2021. But,
yeah.
Can you answer me this? Were you ever at one point we are purposely tanking? Or was Adam Gase and this team just bad, all in its entirety?
Are you asking if they started out the season tanking, or did they start out the season and then realize 3 weeks in, this is a shit show? Let's pack it up.
A little bit of A, a little bit of B.
I think once you trade Jamal Adams, I think that's sign number 1 that we're tanking, because he was clearly the best player on the team. He's a top 3 safety in the league.
Yeah.
By many standards.
Record setting.
You trade him for a couple of first-round picks, and I'm not going to say that Bradley McDougal is bad, but, he wasn't...
He's not Jamal Adams.
He wasn't amazing, Marcus May is obviously the guy. But,
yeah, he's dope. I like that kid.
Yeah, but once you trade him, that's the sign that, yep, we're trying to move on here from Mike McCagnon and his... oh so terrible reign. Oh so terrible.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But part of it,
as I started watching the team, it didn't look good, man. Top to bottom.
Wasn't Adam Gase, correct me if I'm wrong, he was hired on when there was no GM, correct? And then they brought in what was his face? You just mentioned his name.
Douglas?
Yeah, then they brought in Joe Douglas.
Yeah.
Okay.
The issue was they I think it was they drafted without no. They did something weird like that where they drafted not in they fired the guy right after they drafted. I don't know. It was some big mess like that. I forgot, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically they they might have known that this was going to be one of those years. Once they progressed, within the first quarter of the year, I mean, you already knew this thing. It wasn't even just pushing a boulder up the hill. It was like trying to move a mountain in itself. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it wasn't good.
okay, so as the year progressed, and then now you're in the running. You're in the running for the number one pick overall. Like, what was your reaction when you guys got on the road, went into SoFi, and then beat up the Rams, who were right then and there at that moment, they were on the verge of being like one of the ones that they felt that could go all the way. Like, the Rams were looking like a Super Bowl contender. You know what I mean? The Jets single-handedly like pushed them out of the NFC West the championship, basically. Like, the division title was theirs if they just beat the Jets. And boom, obviously you know what happened. The Jets put it on them. And for me personally, I liked it because I'm tired of the Rams winning. I was actually pulling for the Cards. I like seeing things shooken up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm tired of seeing the Seahawks win all the time. You know what I mean? But so I was laughing hysterically when the Jets won, and I remember texting my man Turn Up the Jets. Shout out to Joe. You know what I mean? I asked him.
Yeah,
I said,
he's a legend. I love that guy too.
Me too, man. That guy's great. And I asked him, man, like, how do you feel about that? And he just texted me, I don't feel anything. You know what I mean? Like
Everything is numb.
Yes. And
I don't feel anything.
So what did you feel there?
Pain. You know that like Stephen A meme?
Yeah.
Where he's sitting there in the chair and it's like black and white and you hear the Kanye West song playing in the background. That's exactly how I felt. Or like Alexa play Marvin's Room, like that type of vibe where it's just like you want to just take a cold shower and just stand there for hours just to like wash away the pain because it just hurts so badly. Because in one hand, if you lose, you get one of the best quarterback prospects since I don't fucking know, Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck is like the only other guy that comes to mind, but like
someone who
a superstar,
someone who was not only a superstar, but like, and he was already NFL ready. You know what I mean? And
100%.
So I would agree. Andrew Luck is a great comparison as far as their NFL readiness. You know what I mean? Like he's ready week one. You know what I mean?
Like we all knew Andrew Luck was going to come into the league and just wreck the league. Like we all knew that was happening.
Oh yeah.
And that's how I feel with Trevor Lawrence. He is the best guy I've seen come out in a long time, in a very, very long time. And it's just tough that when you lose that game, then it's just like, okay, we don't have the tiebreaker with the Jaguars, so we just got to hope they win. And then they go out the next week, and
Then they beat the Browns.
I don't even know. So they go out and just beat two playoff teams for absolutely no reason.
So I am crazy.
No reason.
I love to look at every angle and I love to stir things up, right? And like, I was like, no one can tell me different. I'm like, so Adam Gase is the best coach in the world. You know why? Because he could tank on purpose and then be like, you know what? Trevor Lawrence, the people were saying he didn't want to come to the Jets. You know what? Let's just go ahead and win, right? Like, let's just beat these playoff teams. And mind you, I am crazy. I don't believe in anything I just said. Adam Gase is not like he is that good where he could hit the switch and he's like, you know what? It's time to win now. You know what I mean? Because, obviously for a head coach, that winning is how you keep your job. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, of course.
I don't understand. And ironically, with the way Justin Fields has been looking, maybe the Jags might even look his way. And then, ironically, you guys still could end up with Trevor Lawrence.
That's what I was looking at on, when was the game? Saturday? Or maybe it was Friday night, I think the game was. And you watch that game, he gets hit in, I think it was the second quarter. He looks like he freaking broke his ribs. Yep. He has, at least, 2-3 broken ribs. I have no idea how he got up and finished the game. And then he finished with 6 touchdowns, super gutty performance. Yeah. And then I looked at my dad. I was like, yo, could he go first and Lawrence slips to 2? Is that a possibility? And he goes to me, he goes, that's the only thing that we have. That's the only thing we have going for ourselves right now is the fact that, like, maybe he slips.
Yeah.
But I do think at the end of the day, once Trevor Lawrence goes number one to the Jags, then the New York Jets have a big decision to make. You go with the franchise left tackle, or I don't know if he's left or right. Whatever, the franchise tackle to go opposite.
I think he is left. Yeah, to go exactly
opposite. You get two amazing tackles back-to-back years in the draft, or you draft Justin Fields. I'm not buying that Zach Wilson hype. I'm sorry. He may be a good player for another team, but if I'm going to draft a quarterback, it's going to be Justin Fields. BYU just feels like a joke to me. I don't know.
I like
just you.
I like Zach Wilson. I actually, my Niners were tied to him. Like, since like the middle of the season, like, supposedly we were sending out scouts to every one of his games.
Mm-hmm.
And like, now the hype is so crazy. And if you look at the top 10, as far as the draft order goes, there's 7 teams out of that top 10, including, and I'm saying 7 because I'm including the Eagles, that these guys might be interested in a QB. So,
it always happens like that.
And, yeah, exactly. And like, but Joe Douglas. So here's my next question: is you think Joe Douglas, being a guy who was in the Eagles organization when they built that Super Bowl team, he also spent time with Ozzie Newsome, so he's been around.
Yeah, with the Ravens. Yeah,
with the Ravens, who are another well-run organization. Like, would you think that it's far-fetched, or he's like, okay, well, business-wise, money-wise, we could still rock with Darnold, and maybe we trade down. Maybe even a spot or two, because there might be someone that just wants to move up to, ahead of these other teams and grab Justin Fields, or, because if Trevor Lawrence is there, I think it's a no-brainer. They're going to grab Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, if Justin Fields is there, maybe they trade down, and then maybe they still get a Zach Wilson or a Matt. What's the other guy's name? Matt something. I forget the other prospects' names, man. Either way, do you see them moving forward with Darnold and maybe
Matt Jones? You're talking about Alabama?
Matt Jones? There you
Jones,
go.
maybe?
Yeah, Matt Jones. Like, these are guys.
His name, yeah. I know who you're talking about. The guy from Alabama.
Yes, exactly. Matt Jones. Like, maybe you could trade down and grab one of those guys and acquire more picks. Like, because aside from obviously that line needs more help. You know what I mean? Beckham is still he was still a project. You know what I mean? And maybe it could be all coaching too, man. Like, I mean, you can't exactly tell me anywhere Adam Gase has been, they were just like a phenomenal looking organization. Like, even with the Dolphins, yeah, he got them into the playoffs. His first year there.
Yeah.
But after that, it was nada. He never got anywhere. What he have, like a total of like 10 wins in his stint with the Jets, right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And which is actually surprising, saying that out loud, because you would think like, yo, these guys were never winning. You know what I mean? Like, but is that a possibility? They may trade down. Maybe.
Okay, so when you look at the top 5, I have it out in front of me right now. You have the Jaguars, the Jets, the Dolphins, and then the Falcons, and then the Bengals at 5. So out of those top 5 teams,
the Dolphins and the
realistically,
Bengals don't need
I
a
only see 2 of them taking a quarterback if it's not the Jets. I see number 1, the Jaguars, obviously taking Trevor Lawrence, but then what if the Jets pass? Then you go to the Dolphins, they just pick Tua. I don't know if they would waste another top 5 pick.
And they're gonna want that tackle too. That they're definitely in line to get a lineman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This mock draft here says they want to take Devontae Smith, the Heisman winner. I don't know how realistic that is, considering the young talent they have at wide receiver. I don't really see that happening, but you never really know. And then number 4, Justin Fields. If the Falcons can stay put and still land Justin Fields at number 4, I consider that a massive win.
Yeah, because I actually have them moving on from Matt Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think
100%. I could see a Matt Ryan or a Matt Stafford end up with the Patriots next year or something like that.
Yeah, or even a Washington football team, or even the 49ers. Like Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan had success with Shanahan, so I could also see that. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? But
Does that mean you don't believe in Jimmy G anymore?
No,
or he's just too injury prone.
To be honest, I never did believe in Jimmy. You know what I mean? Like I wanted Kirk Cousins during that time. During that whole time, like I wanted Kirk Cousins. He signed the second franchise tag, so I knew that wasn't going to happen. Then around the trade deadline in 2017, we went ahead and traded for handsome Jimmy, and I didn't like that either. Like, and matter of fact, he had to make me a believer. He ripped off 5 wins that didn't really.
Yeah, they didn't matter.
Didn't matter, and then they did beat the Jags. Which in the Jags they had a top 2 defense at the time. Arguably, if you look at certain metrics, they were number 1. But so he showed some promise. I mean, the next year, 2018, he goes ahead, he beats up the Vikings. We scraped by that one. Actually, I don't want to say beat up. We scraped by the Vikings. Then we beat up the Lions, and then week 3 he tears his ACL. On a bootleg. So the jury was out. You know what I mean? And then. He comes back. We pay him. Matter of fact, we pay him, and then he comes back 2019, and I had this saying, we were winning ugly with handsome Jimmy, because all he had to do was just facilitate. Really though, because he was good.
He's a pretty boy.
He's a pretty boy, but he's also kind of a dumbass. You know what I mean? And because when you look at the mistakes he would make, it's like, well, that wasn't smart. You know what I mean? So, I just feel like. And I think Shanahan is an arrogant coach where he's like, listen, you give me anybody who can throw the ball, and give me any running back that can run the ball, and I'm gonna scheme them up, and I'm gonna make them fit the system. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of how he's been. Like, why aren't we, always trying to grab, like we could have grabbed, Mahomes or Watson, even though that was never part of, what we were going to do 2017. But then, and then we had rumors we were going to get Trubisky, but that was only because we wanted, the Chicago Bears to trade with us. You know what I mean? And then it was like, we're like, okay, cool. Now we're going to go with Brian Hoyer. You know what I mean? Like, and then it was like, you know what I mean? Then we trade for Jimmy, and then it's like, oh, okay, we got Nick Mullins. He's our backup. He's our guy, man. You know what I mean? And then it's like, it was just Shanahan's kind of arrogant like that. Like, and maybe, he brings over Matt Ryan because he did that with Brian Hoyer, right? Like, he was like, yeah, hey, Brian Hoyer, we had success in Cleveland together. Hey, you know how to run my system. Let's get this thing off the ground. And then, now I could say that with Matt Ryan. Like, when he went over to Atlanta, he didn't choose Matt Ryan. You know what I mean? Like, he was just there. And, 2 years in it, now Matt Ryan was the MVP. You know what I mean? So I feel like, me personally, for my Niners, we're in okay hands because we got a great coach, but I think that I want talent. Like, give me someone who's actually good, and instead of like being like, okay, we can make him work in the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so you guys have the 12th pick this year. Okay, so let's say you're on the clock at 12. The Jets call you. They say, yo, we'll give you Sam Darnold right now if you give us the 12th pick. What do you say?
I just don't think Sam Darnold's worth a first-round pick. You know what I mean? Like,
what if you say second-round pick?
If we're talking, listen, I've argued with
like
people.
40th overall or 40, I think.
I think if we can,
I don't know, whatever pick you guys have in the second round, just that second round pick. It's like, it's not like super early.
Here's the thing.
But it's also like almost top 10.
Here's the thing.
In the second round.
If the Jets draft a QB, right? By the time they get to trying to wheel and deal Sam Darnold away, you already have no leverage. Because, you know what I mean? Like, now it's like, okay, you just need to get rid of him. I'm not, it's like, here, I'll give you this third round. Or I'll give you, this third round and next year's second. Or, you know what I mean? Or, I don't see somebody paying up, anything, higher than a third round for a Sam Darnold, because there's no leverage there. Like, unless they trade down, they continue to trade down, and maybe a Zach Wilson is their guy, because Zach Wilson, he was never projected to be a first rounder until his performance this year. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And so I'm just saying, like, the moment the Jets draft a QB, it's going to be harder for them to move Sam Darnold. Like, I believe.
What about pre-draft? They say, do you
Yeah.
want to take Sam Darnold? Nothing happens yet. Do you want to take him?
Well, that means that we already had moved Jimmy, and I think places where that could be interested in Jimmy is like him returning back to New England. You know what I mean? Because Jimmy G's contract right now is like $25 million a year. So, and if we were to just cut him, we'll take I think it's like $10 million in dead cap, or I forget exactly what it is, but it's not nothing crazy. So we could theoretically just move on from him, but why do that if we can get something back? And I feel like we only get.
Are you allowed to cut him off an injury, or is that like discrimination type thing where like you're discriminating me because I'm hurt, you can't cut me?
I think that's why we would have to trade him. You know what I mean?
I feel like you can't cut an injured player like after like such a severe injury. I feel like that's against like contract laws or whatever.
But it is a high ankle sprain, so I don't know how they'll categorize the severity of that. Like if that's in breach of contract, because there is definitely injury clauses in every contract.
Exactly.
So I think trading him, and honestly, I think we're not greedy. I think we would take like a second round. And I think New England would be willing to do that because New England, but then there's also rumors that they're going to bring back Cam now. So at the end of the day, I might be just blowing smoke right now and literally, like pun intended, blowing smoke because I'm smoking a joint right now. But I literally might be blowing smoke because we might just see my organization back with Jimmy G and hopefully some young prospect behind him, you know what I mean? Some young project, because Shanahan is arrogant where it's like he might like.
Okay, so at 12, if you're not going quarterback, then who are you going?
It's got to be DB, or even the best edge rusher available, because I don't see us bringing back D Ford. You know what I mean? We got we have 40 free agents coming up right here, and for the Niners, we're not going to be able to bring them all back. That's the same reason we traded away Quan Alexander. You know what I mean? Because we know Fred Warner's our guy moving forward. Fred Warner's on a.
He's a good guy.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
Yeah, bro. Like I actually wanted us to get to get Fred Warner. He's one of the only guys. Him and Bosa, but Bosa was kind of a no-brainer. But in the past couple years,
Bosa was no-brainer. Come on.
Yeah. But I'm usually wrong about. Like I wanted CeeDee Lamb. For God's sakes, you know what I mean? But it was like then when we draft
Ayuk.
We drafted Kinlaw first.
Oh yes.
And that was like business as usual. We traded away DeForest Buckner and we needed to replace that interior lineman spot. So that's exactly what we did. You know what I mean? And which I feel is great GMing. Like, okay, don't just give yourself a hole, fill that hole. With the best interior lineman as far as like draft grade goes, like he was number one at that position. So I felt good about it. Did it look all right in hindsight? When I watch him on the field, no, he still needs development. So the jury's still out on him. But Ayuk, love the kid. I remember one time you were asking me about a dynasty question, like, yo, should I trade for him? He's being offered, and then you made a good point. You were like, well. Is he balling because of the absence of George Kittle? You know what I mean?
And I think so.
Yeah, because when George Kittle...
He kind of stopped after Kittle came back.
Exactly. He outright disappeared. You know what I mean? So, I'm going to say we need DB. We need to go quarterback.
That's smart.
We need to go safety, because... And to be honest, too, a lot of this right now, whatever we say is speculation, because soon as the coach... for example, whatever coaching regime comes to the Jets, that's going to dictate how you guys draft. You know what I mean?
Okay, so in terms of coaches, where should they be looking? Should they be looking from the college level, like an Urban Meyer or Harbaugh from Michigan, or bringing back an older guy like a Bill Cowher? Like where do you see them going? Or they go for an offensive coach like the guy from the Chiefs? Eric, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Bieniemy or whatever. Like, where do you see them going with this?
So first, I want to order in order the vacancies that I feel like are the hottest to coldest. So I would say the hottest job to have as we speak right now in my opinion, is the Chargers. I think that spot because they have a ton of great personnel on defense. You know, they got weapons on offense, and they got their QB for the future. So
Yeah, of course.
I feel like that's the hottest job to have right now. Then after that, I feel it's the Houston spot. Even though Houston is depleted with picks, you have Watson there, and that's enough said for me. You know what I mean? And then I will say the Jets is the third most interesting spot for a coach to go to because you have Joe Douglas there. He's acquired a shitload of draft capital, and you know you got pieces there on offense and defense, and if they can get it together against some playoff caliber teams in must-win situations like the Rams or the Browns, you know, there's players there that I want to win because that's important too. Like you would imagine a player on the Jets for years with Gaze might not like want to play football anymore. You know what I mean? Like they might be like, "Yo, this sucks." You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're gonna because you kind of need someone that's gonna go over there and revitalize an entire culture. So I think you need experience there. Like I would love Eric Bieniemy because he's from a winning organization. He's
of course.
He's been under the tutelage of Andy Reid. He knows how this thing plays out. And then if you can give him a young QB that he could develop, because Eric Bieniemy is part of Patrick Mahomes' development. So, you know, and maybe Eric Bieniemy has a little bit of Kyle Shanahan in him, where he's like, "Hey, man, give me Sam Darnold. I'll make something out of him." You know what I mean? Like. But
yeah, of course.
But I mean, I can honestly say, you know, a coach who's getting his very first crack at being a head coach, you know what I mean? I don't think he's gonna want to start with someone like Darnold. He's gonna want to start something in his own likeness, in his own mold. So that would entail them drafting a young QB. You know what I mean? And being able to build around that QB. But like, you know,
I just feel like they would make a mistake if they don't go offensive tackle, or just because the way that you build a successful team is through the trenches. We all know that.
Exactly.
How do you think the Steelers have stayed good for this long?
Yep.
It's not because they pick a wide receiver in the first round every year, is it?
No, and they take a wide receiver in the third round all the time, and
exactly,
they
then
hit.
Those guys pan out.
Yeah, they know how to scout the fuck out of some receivers.
That's what I was trying to explain to my father the other day. I was like, I understand the first round quarterback, wide receiver, skill position, running back. They'll be very, very good, but you got to look at the talent later on in the draft because there will always be wide receivers.
Yeah.
Not every star receiver was a first-round pick, and we all know that. But some of the best offensive line gets drafted in the first round because once
they're
you leave
very
the first
rare.
round, it gets much harder to draft and develop talent. Much harder.
Okay, so in my opinion, I don't like the Bill Cowher idea. To me that screams John Gruden. Like, hey man, let's bring back the guy we all loved, man.
Okay,
remember him? Remember John Gruden, Raider Nation? And then it's like, you know, for the Jets fan base, I feel like, you know, let's remember what Bill Cowher did with y'all. Like, did he get y'all to the playoffs? No. You know what I mean? Did he? Mm-hmm. But he was just a very polarizing coach. You know what I mean? And most of his, you know, his polarizing seasons, like winning seasons, was with the Steelers organization. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't like that idea. Plus, I think Bill Cowher, even though he was about that mobile QB, a QB that can move in the pocket. He was with that shit. So it's kind of ironic because that's where the league is at right now. So maybe he will be able to adapt to that, but I just don't see his style of coaching. You know what I mean? And like, you know, he was a power run type of individual. Like, we're going to run this ball. We're going to play good defense. You know, he's real old school in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, now we're in a passing league. You know what I mean? Like a passing league, and like, you know, there's only 5 running backs went over 1,000 yards this year. Like, you know what I mean? That's just a testament to where.
And one for 2,000.
Yeah, so he counts. He counts for 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
King Henry counts for 2.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah, wait, hold on. But he doesn't count in fucking Super Bowl week when he's gonna fuck me in the championship. That son of a bitch. But I digress. You know what I'm saying? So who do you like? Because I also, if we're gonna talk about,
there's rumors about your boy leaving San Francisco.
Yeah, Saleh. I would like that for y'all.
I don't know if I vibe with the defensive coordinator coach.
Well, you got to look at what's in place defensively for you guys. You got Quentin Williams, you got Marcus May. Help me out here.
It's pretty bleak, bro.
You got CJ Mosley coming back. You know what I mean?
Oh, that guy. I think we signed him for like $1 billion, and he's played a total of like 3 games. Yeah. So let's calm down.
But I'm just saying though, like there's some because Saleh has done. I'll tell you this much about Saleh. Here's the knock on him for me being a Niner. He required massive talent to be successful. You know what I mean? It wasn't like some magical scheme that he put certain players in and then they just worked. Like, we needed to trade for D Ford. We needed to draft Bosa. We needed to have, to draft Fred Warner. And then even on top of that, we traded for Quan Alexander. And, we brought over Richard Sherman to try to, whip these young DBs into shape. You know what I mean? And then it worked. But it only worked for so long. I feel like he parlayed his time into some head coaching opportunities, and he's gonna move on. I will say I feel he's gonna go to Detroit because he's from Michigan, and that there's already rumors he's being tied to Detroit. And you gotta be from Michigan to have some type of love for Detroit, because who wants to be the savior for Detroit? You know what I mean? Hey, I'll go over there. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, the better opportunities, Saleh can say they fire Nagy for some reason. I would be licking my chops if I'm a defensive coordinator looking for a head coaching job, and you look at the Bears defense and I'm like, whoa, I can do things with them. You know what I mean? So maybe Saleh isn't the answer there. I wouldn't be mad at it though. But you would almost certainly see your draft morph into you guys are bringing over more defensive guys in this crop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I hate when the Jets do that. It feels like every year it's a new defensive end, it's a new D tackle, it's another guy. Just so many of them. I just remember for a consecutive amount of years, it was just it was first Leonard Williams, then it was Quinn Williams, then it was all these guys.
And look at Leonard Williams is balling now in New York.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I feel your pain, man, because my Niners, we've had a lot of first round. I used to think we had a first round curse, where everybody we drafted in the first round wouldn't pan out. Even the first year with John Lynch, we drafted Robert Foster and Solomon Thomas, and where in the fuck are they now? You know what I mean? We still got
Wasn't
Solomon
Thomas a third pick?
Yeah, and then Foster was
tough.
at the yeah. You know what I mean? So, we really only hit on Bosa so far and Fred Warner. And Fred Warner was, I don't think he was a first round pick for us. You know what I'm saying? But either way, my point is, man, it's I feel like Joe Douglas, you guys having Joe Douglas, he's great at scouting personnel.
100%.
You know what I mean? And I think that his biggest hurdle is making the Jets some type of interesting draw for other coaches and to what if you ask every single coach that's in line for a job right now, it's gonna be the most desperate guy that'd be like, I'll take the job. What was that, Marvin Lewis? Yeah, I'll take. You know what I mean?
I would throw up.
Or Jim Caldwell, these guys that want to get back in the league, and they're like,
I would throw up so fast in my mouth if they hired.
Look at Greg Williams, bro. Greg Williams is a great defensive-minded guy, but he had such a bad rap in the league that he had to go to places like the Browns and the Jets because no one's gonna want to hire him. You know what I mean? He figured, I'll go if I can make noise over there in those organizations. That'll be oh, this guy really knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? So, it's either gonna be a retread, in my opinion, that goes to the Jets. And I think a cool college prospect or idea would be Urban Meyer. I'm not mad at that. You know what
I
I mean?
would love that. I would love that.
Because
that dude knows how to win.
And more importantly, you want to know what's great? What's a great quality with a college coach is that they know how to deal with kids, bro. Because yes, these motherfuckers are getting millions of dollars in the NFL. They are still majority kids, and if not, they still act like kids when they get older. You know what I mean? Like you need someone who can, and you know what I mean? Like imagine these young coaches right now. Like you know how many veterans were like older than Sean McVay? You know what I mean? When he first got there, like, you know, like, how are you going to take orders from this young cat? Like, imagine if Joe Brady goes somewhere. You know what I mean? Joe Brady's not even 30 years old right now. I think he is 30, right? He's young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So wherever he goes, he's going to have players that he's drafting out of college that are like only like years younger than him. You know what I mean? So it's like, are you going to be maybe that works in his favor? He's going to be able to identify with him, or maybe they won't respect him because he'll be like, hey, bro, you know, you're barely older than me. You know what I mean? But I feel like someone like Urban Meyer, he's older than everybody. You know what I'm saying?
He'll be the oldest head in the building.
Exactly. So like he's going to demand, you know,
respect and excellence.
Exactly, and his reputation is excellence. His what's the word? It supersedes him. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, of course. 100%.
That's why he's still talked about as an option, you know what I mean, every year. You know, people want him. You know what I'm saying? But, and then the Jim Harbaugh thing, I think that'll work and then fizzle out fast because that's just, the rah-rah only lasts so long. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like, you know, that's why, look at him in Michigan right now. Like, did he ever take them to he got close, but. You know what I mean? It's just
he couldn't beat Ohio State. That's my only issue with Harbaugh. He can't seem to win the big game.
Okay, so here's the $7 million.
He flopped in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
It might have been the lights.
Flopped in the
NFC.
Loss, 2 NFC championships, and a Super Bowl. All losses. Then, that's not to mention him as a player. He lost a AFC title game as a player he was a quarterback for the Colts. That's like in the 90s. You know what I mean? So if you ask me, he has a losing on his resume. I don't want that shit. You know what I mean? I don't want that shit. You know what I mean? The Jets organization has been through enough, right? And like I feel like, you know, Joe, maybe there's a name that no one's talking about. A name that was actually, you know, synonymous with Joe Douglas for, you know what I mean, at one point or another. You know, and that could be, you know, some of John Harbaugh's disciples, maybe Greg Roman, you know what I mean? Like there's other names that no one's talking about, you know, that could be the best option. But I still say I like things that are crazy and fun. Man, let's go Joe Brady or like Eric Bieniemy. Like, you know what I mean? Like who's up for the challenge? You know what I mean? Like, because I think Eric Bieniemy is a shoo-in for the Chargers job. You know what I mean? It'll be poetic. He'll be in the same division against his former mentor, and he'll have, you know, the young prodigy, you know what I'm saying, to duel against Mahomes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's all going to, I guess everything we are saying could have no validity as soon as we figure out who that coach is going to be. Because if it's Eric Bieniemy, they're definitely going quarterback. There's no way he's gonna move forward with Darnold. Darnold is. I think what's wrong with Darnold is he's a pure pocket passer. I think that's all his game has. He's kind of one dimensional to me. Yeah, he might scramble here and there, but from what the game is going towards now, I just don't think he fits. He's gonna be a backup somewhere.
Yeah, I got you.
I will say, though, Shanahan is arrogant enough that if we got Darnold on a good deal, he'll be like, I could win with Darnold. Shit, I've won with Nick Mullins. You know what I mean? I've won with Brian Hoyer. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he could, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't want that, though. You know, this is going to sound crazy. I was really upset when the Bears got into the playoffs because I was like, I'll take Mitchell Trubisky, bruh.
Oh, I'll take him.
Like with Shanahan, this guy can actually move. You know what I mean? Like Shanahan's offense, we have a lot of rollouts and bootlegs that we haven't been able to use with Jimmy G. Matter of fact, we tried to, and he tore his ACL on a bootleg. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Tragic.
Tell me about it. So
I mean, like, so
$7 million
when you
question.
look for a new coach, it's tough to like pick someone because I'll give you an example: the Knicks, who are playing absolutely phenomenal these days.
They are,
and I think we both know why that's happening. You know why?
Yeah, because
they got a coach.
Yep.
They didn't hire some random assistant coach, David Fizdale, who was like piggybacking off LeBron in Miami. Like,
Yep.
They didn't pick a Jeff Hornacek. Like, they
Yep.
didn't pick a scrub. They picked a known guy in the league. Yes, he has his reputation for playing his players too hard. Yes, R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle are in the top 5 for minutes played this year at like 35 a game or something.
Damn, that's
Crazy like that. And you ready for this? R.J. Barrett, I think, played 43 minutes. I think he sat for like less than 5 minutes last game they played against the Hawks. That's just like a side note, but it's because they got an established coach. So that's like one thing to point out when getting a coach. Yes, you can go young. You can go Sean McVay. You can go Cliff Kingsbury. You can go
Joe Brady,
Zach Taylor.
Oh yeah,
Joe Brady. You could go for those guys, but sometimes you want to go for the established coach, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But I'm excited for the Knicks outlook. Just a little side note there.
What about across your division? There's is his name Daisley? I forget, the OC from the Bills.
His name is...
It's like Bailey or Bainley or Gainley or something like that.
Brian Dable.
Dable. There you go. I was totally off. Yes,
Close.
Brian Dable.
We'll give you points for effort there.
Yes. You know,
couple points for effort.
I got that's basically all my score. You know what I mean? No, but how do you feel about him? Because I know like he's another one of those names that's gonna start heating up even more.
If they win a couple of playoff games, that dude is going to get some serious conversations, for sure.
Yeah. And so
the development of Josh Allen, all that kind of good stuff.
Right? Okay, so
but
the $7 million question.
If they win a couple of big games, and if the Bills were smart, I would keep him.
Yeah, I would too. For continuity for a young QB, that's
exactly.
Important. Yeah.
You don't want to just lose a coordinator and then make Josh Allen learn a whole new offense when he's starting to roll.
I mean,
I feel like if like I'm the Jets, I'm coming in with this $10 million offer. I'm gonna try everything in my power to match whatever the Jets do or the Jaguars do if they want to go sign him, because I want to keep Josh Allen in house. Josh Allen had an amazing season. He won a couple of playoff games. He couldn't get over the hump of the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, but the talent is there. Yeah. I don't want to lose this offensive coach. I want to pick a player and just take off next year.
Yeah, I mean, like there's no coincidence why someone like Brady and worked for so long, because it was him and Belichick. The continuity was there for decades.
100%.
Another example right now, currently, is Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? And I think
Tomlin and Big Ben.
And there's not too many other examples of that, but the common denominator between those examples we gave is that those organizations were winning. You know what I mean? Like, look at Alex Smith when we drafted him over Aaron Rodgers. Fucking bullshit. But anyways, Alex Smith went through like a dozen coordinators and coaches, like, combined. Like it, and then ironically, by the time he got with Andy Reid, that made him one of the most intelligent QBs, because now he could just pick. His football IQ, his QB intelligence was through the roof. Then he got with a coach that knew what to do with someone who could speak the language, but it took him all those years and taking all those beatings. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's a poor example, but we really don't have that in the league these days. Like, we don't, like, coaches don't last too long. You know what I mean?
They have a very short leash. If you're not succeeding within the first 2 years, you're toast.
And that's why they're trying that's why they really quickly got rid of Anthony Lynn. Mind you, Anthony Lynn, he was a good coach, but it came and it went. You know what I mean? And his decision making, everything just fell apart. So, and more importantly, they're like, we need to match Justin Herbert with a head coach that move and grow with this kid, develop him. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Like, because Sam Darnold, you know what I mean? Like, I remember a week ago, like saying on one of the live streams, I was like, man, that'd be a bitch if the Jets actually just bring back Adam Gase and keep Darnold. You know what I mean? Like, because it seemed like, wow, this is going the wrong direction. And then, in one day, they yesterday, they go ahead, or 2 days ago, they fire Gase. You know what I'm saying? Finally. You know what I mean? And now, you hear all the Darnold rumors starting to swirl. You know what I mean? Because Darnold, there's places like Detroit, even Washington, you know what I mean? My Niners, possibly Chicago. Like, there's people that'll talk for Sam Darnold because he still has one more year on his rookie contract. Then you could pick up the 5th-year option. So whatever Sam Darnold you get is going to be a very appreciative Sam Darnold because you're trading for him. And you get to just play him till the wheels fall off. It's really for free if you think about it, depending on what you give up for him. You know what I mean? As long as you don't give up too much. Like, if you
give up a second-round pick, like, I would totally do that.
You feel me? Like, and speak that into existence, because if you can get a second round for him right now, it's fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean? I mean, what did Josh Rosen
they got a second-round pick for Josh Rosen, so let's be real.
Makes sense. And, they had no more leverage either, the Cardinals, because they already drafted Murray. Here they are sitting around with Josh Rosen. They're like, what?
Dick in their hands. That's the proper phrase.
Exactly. So essentially, Darnold needs to be on the move soon then. Like, he's got to be on the move, and that'll indicate you're getting quarterback no matter what. You know what I mean? And you might be able to get, I'll tell you this much, you get one of those meatball subs for show for Sam Darnold. Like, listen, bro, I got this meatball sub. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give somebody.
Listen, if they take Penny, I'll be super happy. You get 2 bookend tackles for the next 10 years. I think that's a win. You get some protection for Darnold. For some reason, they can't figure out free agent offensive line talent. It just evades them for some reason.
I think it's because people don't want to go there. Because then, I think think about this. Someone like Trey Flowers, when he was up in free agency coming from New York, he could have easily been like, I'll just go to the Giants. I won't have to move. I won't have to do nothing. You know what I mean? But then he didn't do that because he's like, well, I don't want to go to the Jets. And I think that's pretty much the premise with a lot of free agents. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, I don't want to go to the Jets unless they're going to pay me like crazy, circa CJ
Mosley money, Le'Veon Bell money.
Yeah. Because other than that, it's it's not really them. So that's why I said whatever head coach goes there, Joe Douglas has to be smart about this guy needs to be a draw for players. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you brought over Eric Bieniemy, guys like DeMarcus Robinson, Pringle, other, what is it? Other, maybe Darrell Williams, guys that are like the second and third stringers on the Chiefs, they would immediately be like, okay, I can go play for Bieniemy at the Jets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because that's what, but see, maybe you could also be a draw for maybe Sammy Watkins, of someone even bigger. Like, okay, when they move on from Sammy Watkins, you go, okay, boom, come over here to the Jets. We're not going to pay you much, you know what I'm saying? But come over here, the system, you're going to be a number one, or maybe you'll be opposite of Mims. You know what I mean? Like, whatever coach they bring in needs to be a draw for players right now, because what's the draw? Going to a team that's in overhaul, like a rebuild mode, and you couple that with the fact it's in the biggest media market, so you're gonna get scrutinized. You're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna need someone that's gonna be like, come over here and help us change the culture, and that's gonna take. What's crazy? Jim Harbaugh could be one of those guys.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Tom Thibodeau, John Harbaugh. I'm not saying that they've won it all, but they've had success. They've won playoff series. They know how to win, I guess, in the regular season, and then we'll just figure it out in the playoffs if that ever happens, ever. I'd probably cry if the Jets had a winning record / made the playoffs. I probably would cry. Even if they were the 7th seed, I'd probably just cry. honestly.
Damn. Hey man, you throw a big party so you can have a lot of people and you guys all cry
Bro,
together.
I'm gonna cry if the Jets make the 10th seed in the playoffs and they have a chance to play in the play-in playoff scenario. You heard of that? It's absolutely amazing.
I would love that actually.
You like that move? It's the you have the 7 plays the 8 and the 9 plays the 10, right?
Yep.
The loser of the 7-8 game plays the winner of the 9-10 game. So basically, if you're the 7th or 8th seed, you have 2 chances to make the playoffs. But if you're the 10th seed, you got to win both games to make the playoffs. So I don't know. I like the system, and if the Jets somehow sneak into that 10th seed and they make the playoffs, even if they get rocked by, I don't know, whoever the first seed is, the Bucks or whatever,
Yeah.
or whatever, maybe the Nets. I don't know who's gonna be the first seed. I don't like the Nets, by the way. Just gonna point it out. What day is it? It is the January 6th. I'm calling it from now. I don't like the Nets. I think their defense isn't good unless they improve their defense. I don't see them making any big moves in the playoffs. January 6th, I called it.
I mean, it's hard to disagree because I mean it's all offense over there. You know what I mean?
They gave up 140 points to the Atlanta Hawks, bro. I'm not saying Trae Young and all those cats are bad or by any stretch, but like the Jets played. I'm not the Jets. I'm losing my mind. The Knicks played them the other night, and they only gave up like maybe 105.
Well, that's
something
deep.
like that.
Because you know what I'm saying? That tells me they played some type of defense. You know what I mean? Like, and not none. The Nets should just bring over James Harden. Fuck it. Like, we'll just go all in. Go all in on zero defense. Like, you know what? We're gonna have to score.
I mean, if we're going zero defense, I bring James Harden. You guys will score 130 points every night.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like who needs defense, right? When you
the running gun offense.
Okay, so here's the $7 million question. If you
I'm ready.
If you were right next to Joe Douglas and he was like, okay, Morris, like you're like his secret advisor, you know what I mean? Like, and it's on you. Like, there's not even options. Just who would you want, and they go and get him right now, head coach.
Eric Bieniemy.
I love it. That's who I'm excited for wherever Eric Bieniemy goes. Period. Because
I haven't really thought about him that much, but now that you say it, I can see him landing by the Chargers. I see it. It makes a lot of sense.
I mean, shit, when you get to firsthand see how Herbert plays, you know, you're on the other side of that sideline like, yo, if I can get with that kid, bruh, you know what I mean? Like
I can link up with that might got a chance here. Because if you're not a fan of football and you just started watching, like you weren't a lifelong fan and you just started watching 2018 and you're hooked, you'd be like, nobody's beating the Chiefs ever. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course.
Like if you only existed and you're a fanatical fan of football right now, like of whatever the word is, a maniacal fan for all of football, and you only knew the last 3 years, you'd be like, nobody's beating the Chiefs. You know
okay, but I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Yes, he is the offensive the coordinator for the Chiefs.
Yes.
But I think we all know who the brains of the operation is.
Yes. My man, Uncle Cheeseburger.
Yes, Uncle Cheeseburger. So, is he really that good?
Okay,
or are we overhyping him up?
Okay, well, let's look at Andy Reid disciples. Okay, so between Andy Reid and all his disciples combined, like active coaching in the league right now, combined, only got 2 Super Bowl titles. So that's the one that Andy Reid barely got, and the one that Doug Peterson got in Philly, where Andy Reid formerly could never get one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, his disciple went there, finished the job. Hey, this is for you, Andy. Then Andy Reid got him one with Patrick Mahomes. Other than that, you have Matt Nagy. He's another disciple. You know what I mean? Yeah, he got the Bears into the playoffs twice now, right? Because, you know, he's in there this year. And the first time around, it was definitely because they had Vic Fangio in that defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you do as a young head coach. You do the Sean McVay. Hey, I'm over here in L.A. Hey, I'm going to bring over Wade Phillips because Wade Phillips is phenomenal. He's an elder gentleman. He's also a former head coach. he could help me out.
He's gonna pump up my respect because I'm not getting it from
anybody.
older guys.
So that's what Nagy did the same thing. He went over there to Chicago. Vic Fangio's already there. Hey man, you know what? You know what? Don't have to clean your office out. I'm keeping you around. Let's do this thing. You know what I mean? They get into the playoffs. The next year, Vic Fangio leaves. They bring over Chuck Pagano, another guy who historically can't win the big one. And you know what I mean? So boom, and you know they didn't do shit 2018 or 2019, 2020. You know, by the grace of the football gods and the newly appointed 7th seed this year, they got in. You know what I mean? Other than that, I don't think they'll last. They're going to play the Saints. You know what I'm saying? You know, but and then you know maybe Matt Nagy and Eric Bieniemy reunite for the Jets. So you got Eric Bieniemy, and then Matt Nagy goes there as the OC. Because when he was the OC for Alex Smith in 2017, and Eric Bieniemy was there too. He was the quarterback coach, if I remember correctly. But they were all together at one point. Is my point. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be a lot of
chemistry.
Yeah, and there's and whenever you're a head coach and you're a new head coach, you're more often than not you're bringing over guys that you know you've been rocking with. So like for example, Brian Flores goes over there in 2019. So he's like, you know, he brings over for his OC was like Chad. I forget his name, but he was the receiver coach from New England. You know what I mean? So he's like he brought over somebody that he was familiar with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, coaches do that. Like I feel like if Robert Saleh leaves the Niners or when he leaves the Niners, we're gonna bring over Dan Quinn. You know what I mean? Because because they work together in Atlanta. You know what I mean? And I can see Shanahan repaying him like, hey man, you gave me an OC job, I'll give you a DC job. You know what I mean? Like, and I hate shit like that sometimes. You know what I mean? Because new coaches could be the new shit. Like, you know, shout out to Jay Gruden. When the Shanahans got fired in Washington, you know, Sean McVay, he was an assistant. I think he was a QB coach, or I forget what coach he was, but he was underneath Shanahan. So when they fired the Shanahans, you know, Jay Gruden goes over there and he's like, hey man, you know, you used to work with my brother. You know what I mean? I'll give you a shot, young Sean.
Brotherly love.
Yeah, he's like, boom, I'll give you a shot. You know what I mean? And then he parlayed that OC job 3 years. He was the OC for Washington. You know what I mean? And he had Kirk Cousins slinging it. You know, 4,900 yards, you know, 4,200 yards, 4,500 yards. Like, those 3 years was crazy for Cousins. And then, boom, you know, Sean McVay parlayed that into the Rams job.
I'm not going to lie. I love the way you say 100. Hunt it.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Just a side note. I love the way you just said that. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because...
Hunt it.
I mean, I'm keeping it 100. That's just how, you know...
You got to keep it 100. That's what's up.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Or even we're in the Bay Area, we also say, you know, keep it a thou wow. You know what I mean?
A thou wow?
Yeah, like, you know, that's 1,000. You know what I mean? But a thou wow.
That one.
You know what I mean?
Thou wow?
We keeping it a thou wow. All the way, you know what I'm saying? All the way funky and solid. That's straight Bay Area shit right there. Like, yo, I got to keep it a thou wow. You know what I'm saying? All the way,
okay,
all
so
the way
you're
funky
saying
and
if
solid.
I ever approach a Warriors fan, I gotta say, yo, that dude Curry, man, yo, he keeps it, what'd you say, a thou wow?
He keeps it a thou wow. Oh, yeah.
He keeps it a thou wow.
Oh, yeah. They'll know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I mean? They'll be like, you feeling me? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny.
Yo, Curry a thou wow.
You feel me? Like, I'm telling you, hey, he was trying to put up a thou wow the other night.
That's facts.
What did he put up, like 62?
Yeah, 62. And the craziest thing about that stat line is that he missed one free throw.
Wow.
And he never misses free throws. I think he went like 18 for 19 or something like bananas like that.
That's insane. You know what's crazy? What's even more insane is I remember Curry when he wasn't getting his calls. You know what I mean? Like, and now it's like Curry, you know, he's an elder statesman. He's getting his calls, and it's like, because you said 18 for 19, he went to the line 19 times. He took, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah, so Eric Bieniemy, you know what I mean? Listen, I'll make the phone call to Joe Douglas myself. You know what I mean? I'll let him know.
You know what? I'd prefer if you slide in his DMs. I feel like he checks those more often.
Okay, all right. You know, we'll approach it on how the youngsters do. You know what I mean? But Okay, well, shit, man. I think we pretty much covered it, man. It's crazy because, people don't understand. Hey, the Jets are a conversation to be had. The same way the Browns were a conversation to be had a few years ago. Matter of fact, the trajectory of those two teams is kind of funny to me because it was Baker and Darnold. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
100%.
And the differences to me is that organization, they switched like GM and coaching like I think twice since Baker's been there. So they're consciously trying to get things going for him. They put pieces around him. They got what and look at Kevin Stefanski. He's another one of those guys, a young guy. He was an assistant for like 7 years, and then because of a mid-season firing of John DeFilippo, he was the OC for the Vikings in 2018. They're like, okay, Stefanski, you're up. And then he parlayed that into the actual OC job the following year, and then parlayed that to the job with the Browns. And what's crazy is that they offered Robert Saleh that job before this last offseason. Robert Saleh passed on it, chose to stay with the Niners. Stefanski jumped all over it. You know what I mean? And the rest is history. You know what I'm saying? It seems like this is an organization that the arrow's pointing up. You know what I mean? Look at the Dolphins. Did anybody think that it would turn around that fast? I mean, I think the jury's still out, but like, damn, they turned that thing around fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shout out, Dougie Fresh and
Ethan. And shout out my man Doug and my man E. You know what I mean? Fins up, reluctantly.
Reluctantly.
No, because remember when I said I love showing love to all my guys' teams. I'm not a hater.
You know
right?
what? I kind of feel like they're in the same boat that I was maybe, I can't remember, maybe it was 3-4 years ago when the Jets were on the verge of making the playoffs, but they lost to the Bills.
With the Magic Man. They were with the Magic Man.
With the Magic Man, yeah.
They needed that 10th win. You guys went 9-7 with my man, the Corpse. I used to call him the Corpse, Todd Bowles. Because doesn't he look like a corpse? I don't know. I'm crazy. But yeah, that wasn't too long ago. You know what I mean? And 8 years removed from being in the title game. So, I mean, Jets fans.
Well, were we talking about like Mark Sanchez?
Yeah, like that was what, 2012?
Oh, Mark Sanchez is, I think 2011.
Oh yeah, 2011. I'm sorry, yeah.
2010, 2011, that area.
Yeah. So, I mean, droughts can I'm telling you, you said it best when you
demoralizing.
When you use the Knicks as an analogy earlier, that was the best because it just takes a coach for real. Like, I mean, look at my Niners, bro. We brought over Shanahan. Boom. You know what I mean? Like, it only took a couple years. We were in full rebuild mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
The Dolphins, I feel like the Dolphins, you know what's crazy with the Dolphins, bro? I feel like they got 1 year with Tua before they start reevaluating this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
That's another spot too. You need a young coach there that could, or maybe someone that has a system that can, where Tua's attributes, you know what I mean, like will fit. You know what's crazy about Tua? I feel like his hip.
What's crazy about him?
His hip is not good yet. The hip is not 100%. Maybe even the hip might be completely altered forever. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe he'll never be the same because like
that's what I fear for. There's a rookie that just got hurt. Literally, he was on my fantasy team
Joe
today.
Burrow.
No, not even Joe Burrow in the NBA. His name is Killian Hayes. I was watching the game the other night, and he was on the fast break. He was trying to defend someone, and he fell down, and he looked like he fell on his hip, like no big deal. Right? He was kind of in pain. I was like, you know what? He probably just bruised his hip. He'll be out a week.
Yeah, little bone
But it turns out he
contusion.
tore some muscle tissue thing in his hip, which is an injury that I think Isaiah Thomas had.
Oh no!
I think maybe even similar to what Tua had. I don't remember the exact injury, but
yeah, and they don't exactly come like the jury's out on that injury because there's not too many people that have came back from that injury per se.
Yeah, and I feel bad because he's a rookie. Man, it's his first year in the league. He hasn't even played like 10 games yet.
You know what's crazy too is like we're only a couple years removed from like the Achilles being an injury that like no one comes back from. Like remember when
True.
yeah, but you know as time progresses, doctors get better, science gets better. You know what I mean? So like you know like leaving ACLs, like you know ACLs, it's all in the rehab nowadays because the surgeries are gonna the success rate is through the roof, but it's really in the rehab and how
the players approach it.
Exactly, and you know just also you know everybody's different obviously from how you heal up, but also how you respond to the rehab itself. But still, like I mean, for that young rookie you talking about, you know, basketball is funny like this where like. You could be out for like 2 years and then you still come back. You know what I mean?
Yo, that's like John Wall, man. I'm very excited watching John Wall play right now.
Right?
He's looking very good.
Like look at Clay. Like look at Clay. My man Clay, bro. Like he's not gonna be back next year either. But the year after that, he's still gonna be able to come back and play as long as he can play. As long as he's healthy, he'll come back.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, but that's how it be in basketball. Like you get a major injury, you're gone for the entirety of the following year too. Like how do you think Durant looks now? How do you think he looks?
What'd you say?
Like how do you think KD's looking?
KD's looking pretty good. I'm personally scared that it might come back to bite them later. But they're doing a good job with sitting him in back-to-back games. Taking a shoulder off his load.
Yeah.
You know. I just think they need to.
I love how
get to the
dyslexic
playoffs, and you don't have to be the first seed. You don't even have to be the second seed. But if you're like maybe 3 or 4 and you have home court advantage for a couple of for a series, maybe 2, I think that'll be very beneficial. And still not out on them. I still think their defense is terrible, and if they want to get better, they have to shore up that defense for sure.
Well, I'm making a phone call. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling Jay-Z. I'm saying, Jay, I know you got ties with the Nets still. We're gonna need to get some defense going. You know what I'm saying?
You got a couple of calls to make. You got
I got
to
a
call
couple
Joe
of
Douglas.
calls.
Now you got to call Jay-Z.
You know what I'm saying? Listen,
You might as well call Adam Gase while you're at it.
Listen, Adam Gase, you know, he's actually my cocaine connect. So I talk to him all the time.
Oh, got it. Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
he's a cocaine mob boss. That's why he doesn't even need a coke. He doesn't even need a coach. You know what I mean? Like he has something to fall back on.
He's got deep ties to the mob. Deep ties.
You know what I'm saying? Cartels, etc. You know what I mean? But hey, my man Morris, it's funny because I was like, when I said it out loud earlier, I said, yeah, we'll go like 35, 40 minutes. Like,
yeah, right.
Did I believe that?
I think we've been on here for like an hour.
Yeah, but you know, hey, Playmakers, y'all know what to do. You know what I'm saying? You can find my man Mixmaster Morris on all social media platforms at The Slow Grind. Man, Morris, is a pleasure. This was awesome, man. I'm glad I'm starting off 2021 with things that I didn't do in 2020 because I didn't get you on solo in 2020. We couldn't, we couldn't find the time, and
yeah, we couldn't find the right time, and I remember I called you one night and we were talking, and I was like, you know what? I'll come on the show when they fire Gase. And that was probably back in October.
God, and you text me, yo, I need to get on the show. You texted me this like a couple days ago. Mm-hmm.
It was because I remember we had the conversation. We're like, you know what? Whenever Adam Gase gets fired, let's say that's in 3 weeks from now, at the end of the season, that's when I'm going to come on the show. And
it took
I was like, you know what?
season.
He's fired. Let's run it up, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah. Hey, and you know what I'm saying? Eric Bieniemy, fan of the show. You know what I mean? There's a special request.
Oh, of course. Fan of the show.
Special request in it. You know what I mean? You know, my man Morris, you know what I mean? He wants you to take a good look at the New York Jet, Jets. You know what I'm saying? I fucked that up, didn't I?
And then Bogie, once this is all over, you're going to come to New York and I'll show you a good time, man.
Yes. And you know what? I've only been in New York twice, and the third time it's definitely going to be a charm. We're going to go eat. We're going to eat good food. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna
eat well.
We're gonna argue why people shouldn't put ranch on pizza because I like to do that, and like apparently everyone from the East Coast tells me that's just blasphemous. You know what I mean?
No, I'm gonna take you to the good pizza spots.
Yes,
the pizza spots where you don't need any toppings.
Ooh, so
you can just eat the raw pizza, no vegetables, no meat, no nothing. You get the raw
just a good cheese
pizza
and
with
red
cheese,
sauce,
and it blows your mind.
Wow, I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm old, and you know what?
Trust me, I've been around New York City a lot, trying a lot of different pizza. I have determined the list of like the really, really good places, and trust me, I'll take you.
And listen, you know what's dope is that this is actually something that could happen because my cousin, you know what I'm saying, she's 27 years old. She's going to school out there. She's going to NYU, so she's going to grad school. And she just moved out there. So like my sister's been going out there to kick it with her, and you know, shit like I'm just saying like this is not far fetched that me and my lady could go do a weekend. I go run the ramp, paint the city with my man Mixmaster Morse, and my girl could kick it with my cousin because you know she's tight with my cousin. You know what I mean? And we go on what will be known as the Mixmaster Morse Bogard Pizza Tour.
Adventure.
You know what I mean? Yes, the Pizza Adventure Pizza Tour. You know, the name is a work in progress, but like, and I'm telling you that shit would be epic.
We'll come up with a shorter name, guys. Don't worry.
Yes. My version's better though. Let's go with all the long title. We'll make it an acronym. You know what I mean?
Yes, an acronym of some sort.
But Morris, thanks again, my brother, and you have a good one, man.
You too. Love you guys.
Yeah, love you too, brother. That's my guy.
You ended it?